Hi, I'm glad you could join me. Let's get those marks. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. We'll look at an overview of Topic 1 from AQA GCSE Biology and then study a section in detail with some exam questions. Let's get straight into it. Cell biology is divided into three main topics: cell structure, cell division, and transport in cells. Cell structure is then further divided into smaller topics. First one is eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells, then animal and plant cells, microscopy, cell specification, and cell differentiation. We will study eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells. All living things are made up of cells. The cells can either be eukaryotic cells or prokaryotic cells. The eukaryotic cells are cells like plant and animal cells, whereas the prokaryotic cells are bacterial cells. The main difference between a eukaryotic cell and a prokaryotic cell is the genetic material. In a plant and animal cell, the genetic material is enclosed in a nucleus. However, in a bacterial cell, the genetic material is not enclosed in a nucleus. The plant and animal cells have a cell membrane, they have cytoplasm, and so do the bacterial cells. They have a cell membrane and cytoplasm, as well as a cell wall. The bacterial cells are much smaller, and the main thing is in a bacterial cell, the genetic material can be singular DNA loops, which are small rings of DNA called plasmids. Let's have a look at a diagram of a prokaryotic cell. Here we have a bacterial cell, and we can see that the bacterial cell has DNA which isn't enclosed in a nucleus. It also has a circular piece of DNA called plasmids, and plasmids are to do with genetic engineering. It has a cell wall, and we also know that a eukaryotic cell, such as the plant cell, also has a cell wall. The bacterial cell has structures called pili, which are responsible for attaching the bacterial cell to other cell surfaces. The bacterial cell needs to move, and it has a flagella which helps it to do that. It has cytoplasm, which the chemical reactions happening, and it has ribosomes, which are involved in making proteins. We can also see the size of a eukaryotic cell compared to the prokaryotic cell. We can see that the prokaryotic cell is within the range of 0.2 micrometers to 2 micrometers, whereas the eukaryotic cell is within a range of 5 micrometers to 100 micrometers. So that means the prokaryotic cell is much smaller than a eukaryotic cell. Let's have a look at some exam questions. You can pause at this point and have a go at them if you'd like. So, complete the table of differences and similarities between eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells. And this question has 8 marks. So first of all, we know that eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells both have genetic material, but we also know that the eukaryotic cell has a nucleus and the prokaryotic cell has no nucleus. In the same way, we also know that the prokaryotic cell has a flagella, it has pili, it has plasmids. And the eukaryotic cells doesn't have any of these, so it has no flagella, it has no pili, and it has no plasmids. Now, when we're tackling these kind of questions, it's very important that once we mention one point, we mention whether the other side has or hasn't got that point. That is the main tip to tackle these sort of questions. Now let's have a look at the similarities. So a eukaryotic cell has a cell membrane. It has cytoplasm. It has ribosomes. And now we've got to mention each of these points on the other side. So the prokaryotic cell also has cell membrane. It also has cytoplasm and also has ribosomes. So the main marks usually lost on this type of question is when students might mention the nucleus on one side for the eukaryotic cell, but then might mention the flagella on the other side without making reference to the nucleus. And because they do that, that then loses the mark. Let's have a look at how these 8 marks are allocated. We can have 2 marks here, 2 marks here, 2 here, and 2 here. To start off with, in the first section with the differences here, it's very important to mention about the nucleus. So this is a key point to mention. Then we can mention any one of these 3 here for eukaryotic, and at the same way any one of these 3 here. In the same way, we can mention any 2 from this area here and any 2 from this area here. Question 2, worth 1 mark. Which subcellular structure would not be found in a prokaryotic cell? Now, we know a prokaryotic cell is a bacterial cell, so we think back to which structures are not found in a bacterial cell. We know cell membrane is in a bacterial cell. We know a bacterial cell has a cell wall. It has plasmids, but it doesn't have a nucleus. So our answer is the nucleus. In our last question, worth 2 marks, there's 2 diagrams, one of a bacterial cell and one of a plant cell. Both the bacterial cell and the plant cell contain ribosomes. What is the function of a ribosome? So if we think back to the function of a ribosome, it is to do with building proteins, or we can say makes proteins. The plant cell contains mitochondria, but the bacterial cell does not contain mitochondria. Give one other way in which the plant cell is different from a bacterial cell. So we remember bacterial cell is a prokaryotic cell and a plant cell is a eukaryotic cell. So we can write plant cells have a nucleus. And remember, I said nucleus was an important one to remember. Before I finish, I want to give you some tips on some linking words. The words I want to use from here are ribosome and mitochondria. The first one for ribosomes, whenever we think of ribosomes, we should think of proteins. When we think of proteins, we should be thinking of growth and repair. we should think of amino acids. When we think of amino acids, we should think of protein synthesis. When we think of protein synthesis, we should think of DNA and RNA. For mitochondria, whenever we think of mitochondria, we should be thinking of energy. When we think of energy, we should think of respiration. And we should think of ATP. Thank you for watching. Join me for the next topic. Remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel.